we're asked to find the domain of this function. So from what I've said about domain is just the set of real numbers for which a formula or the function is defined. So for this to be defined, the square root, that's whatever that is inside, must be either greater than or equal to 0, yes. So which is, if I multiply by negative, I have x squared plus 5x minus 6 is less than 0. So let's solve this. This x, this I have plus, so I have plus 5, so I have plus 6 x minus 1. Yes. So what do? I will equate x plus 6 equal to 0 and x minus 1 equal to 0. So x is minus 6 and x is 1. So with that, let's generate our intervals. So using this table, let's shift it down a little down. So let's check x less than minus 6, x between minus 6 and 1, and because these are the two values, it will be 0. But let's check whether it will be less than, greater than, when it's less than minus 6, between minus 6 and 1, and greater than 1. So while our product is x plus 6, x minus 1, x plus 6, that's their product. So that's the interval we have for. So let's test numbers less than minus 6. If I put minus 7, I'll have a negative answer. Minus 7, negative. So negative times negative is positive. Numbers between minus 6 and 1, let's check 0. So I have positive. If I put 0 here, I will have positive. 0, negative. Positive times negative is negative. Numbers greater than 1, I will like 2, positive, 2, positive. Positive times positive is positive. So what are we trying to solve? The ones less than which, so the correct one is this, negative, less than 0. So the interval will be minus 6 is less than x is less than 1. But remember, there is an equality sign. So 1 and minus 6 should be included because equality is still there, equal to 0. As where is equal to 0? So our answer is, okay, they use interval notation. Minus 6 is included, so we use this bracket. This minus 6. And also 1 is included, we use this bracket. So our answer is option C. Find the domain of this function. As we've said, the domain is the set of numbers that makes the formula defined. So for this to be defined, we see that the denominator, remember this is a square root function, so x minus 1 must be greater than or equal to 0 for it to be defined. But remember, this could not be 0. The denominator could not be, so it should be only greater than. So what do you notice? X must be greater than 1. So this is the domain, which is using interval notation from 1 to infinity without including 1. So the answer is option C. We're asked to determine the domain of this function. The domain of any function is the set of real numbers that makes the formula defined. So for this to be defined, square roots, you know that square root function, whatever that is here must be positive. Therefore 2x minus x squared over x minus 1 must be greater than or equal to 0. Yes. And how do you solve this inequality? To solve this inequality, we have 2x. We equate the numerator 0 and the denominator 0. So solving for x here, this is equal to 0. So here x is 1, y x is 0, and x is also 2 here. So we have x 0, 1, and 2. So we use it to form intervals. Yes. So let's form intervals. So the first one, the smallest is 0. So let's check where x is less than 0, the smallest. Where x is between 0 and 1. Where x is between 1 and 2. Finally, where x is greater than 2. So because we have 3 values, this is where is 0. So let's check. So we'll start the product. We have x times 2 minus x. That's this. While the second one is x minus 1. Finally, we now check x bracket 2 minus x over x minus 1. So the sign determines the answer. So numbers less than 0, you can take minus 1. So minus 1 here is negative. Minus 1 here will make this positive. Negative times positive is negative. The same thing for here. We are taking minus 1. This is negative. Negative divided by negative is positive. So let's take numbers between 0 and 1, like 0.5. 0.5 positive. 0.5 positive. Positive times positive is positive. 0.5, this will be negative. So positive divided by negative will give us negative. Numbers between 1 and 2, that is 1.5. 1.5 positive, 1.5 positive. Positive times positive is positive. 1.5, that should be positive. Positive divided by positive is positive. Numbers greater than 2, so this is positive, negative. Positive times negative is negative. Numbers greater than 2, that's maybe 3, this is positive. Negative divided by positive is negative. But remember, we want numbers, the interval, what they gave us from here is positive, that's greater than or equal to 0. So what are the answers? This is the answer. So numbers is this and this, that's this or 1. We need to remember we have a equality sign here. This is included, but this is not 1 is not included, because if you put 1 here, we have division by 0. So the answer, okay, in interval notation, is written from, that's negative infinity, because x is less than 0, less than or equal to 0. So negative infinity including 0. See, we use this type of bracket to include 0, or is written union. 1 is not included, but 2 is included. So the answer is option A. So that's our answer. So other values of x will not be defined. Thank you.